Good morning, everyone. My name is Tom Sun, the Education Chairperson for our SPGA. I am substituting for John Kulo today on the Catalyst, since he's not available to do so. Does an amazing job every 2 weeks and just filling in today, and hopefully I could be half as good as John. Today's special guest is Mr. Phil Immordino. He's the president of Golf Tournament Association of America. He's got plethora of experiences I will just quickly highlight. He's author of How to Produce a Successful Golf Tournament, international speaker, 500 seminars, producer of iGate CEO Cup, Lexus Medical Cup, Cadillac Realtors Golf Tour, tournament director for hundreds of golf tournaments, represented 20 PGA events, a radio talk show host, Golfers Report, TV producer, Desert Golfer TV show, and publisher for Golfers Only. Phil has plethora of experience in dealing with tournaments. I think he's here to discuss how we can leverage tournaments to build our business, grow our business. So without further ado, Mr. Immordino, the floor is yours.
Tom, thank you so much. I really appreciate this opportunity, and thank all of you who are on this call. I know you're all busy and got lots going on. We're in prime season, so it's a busy time for all of us, but I appreciate the opportunity. Just a quick highlight of the Golf Tournament Association. We are the association for fundraising and corporate golf outings throughout the United States, and we have one simple mission, and that is to help them produce the best golf tournament possible. And we do that through education, through webinars, through videos, through books and tapes. And so our whole purpose is to help the golf tournament industry do a better job. And through this opportunity over the past 30 years, we hear from them. We hear what they like. We hear what they don't like. We hear what works. We hear what doesn't work. We hear what they want and what their needs are. So my job here this morning is to share those needs with you, your customer. So I kind of want you to look at me as your typical customer, and that we could basically have a frank discussion on, what our needs are, what we look for in a golf course, and why we book at certain golf courses. So today's topic is going to be how to increase and retain golf outing business. So hopefully that's a topic that you all need and all interested in, because tournaments are big. Tournaments are big money if we let them be. So what are we going to learn today? Today we're going to talk about how do we find more golf tournaments and outings. We're going to go into detail on where you can look and how you can build your client base. The second thing we're going to talk about is how to sell more tournaments, how to sell more events in general. We're also going to look at how to sell more golfers because of those events, which comes along with more merchandise and more services. So how do we just sell more? And then how do we keep those customers coming back? We all know that it costs more money and more time to get new customers as it would be to keep the current ones that we have. So we're going to discuss those three topics. And I want you to realize that this is part of a bigger program that we offer. We offer a tournament certified golf course program nationwide, actually worldwide, which help golf courses not only increase business, but help their customers more, which is really the theme for today. And I want you to be thinking about this theme throughout the whole session on as we learn how to increase business and help customers. The theme is this: if we help our customers get what they want, then we're going to get what we want. It's pure and simple. So our job is to help our customers even more. So before we get into the meat, I really want to just kind of share with you the overall industry. What does it look like? And keep in mind, this is surveys done throughout the industry and tournaments throughout the country, mainly the US. But right now, there are currently over 500,000 golf outings in the United States. Now, 90% of those tend to be fundraisers, charities, and so forth. But a good 10% are entertainment type events. They're corporate outings. The average event will only have 72 players, which we all know a sellout can be 120 to 144. So 72 is really just half sold out. The average green fee for a tournament throughout the United States, including municipal courses all the way up to resort courses and private clubs, is $65 per player, believe it or not. And the average net, this is profit that a charity will make on a tournament, really is only $5,000. Now, we all have heard of tournaments that are making 50, 100, even $500,000, but on the average charity event only nets about 5,000 after all the expenses. Now, why is this important? This is important because I want you to be thinking throughout the session, who's your main client? Who do you really want to go after? I think we all need to target market versus trying to be all things to all people. So there's several types out there. There's obviously the charity events, which tend to be a big bulk of them. That may be your market. There happens to be a good amount of corporate outings. This is, corporations entertaining customers and taking clients out as well as their employees. You've got a lot of networking events out there, which is chambers of commerce. This is Rotary clubs, a lot of civic groups. They're there just to have fun and network and build relationships. And then you've got several thousand competitions. Now, this is everything from the mini tours all the way up to the men's and women's leagues and groups. So really got to ask yourself, what do you cater to? What's going to be your specialty? Now, really what I want to ask you, and I want you to take this question to heart, is why should you take your tournament business seriously? Don't take this wrong, but a lot of golf courses throughout the United States do not look at tournaments very serious. If they happen to call or they happen to come across your website, then they get the business. But rarely do I see golf courses making an extreme effort to go after tournament business. And I can't understand that because there's a lot of money to be made. So I want you to ask yourself, why should you make this a top priority? Why should you focus on the golf outing and golf tournament business? Well, there's several reasons. So number one, the obvious, is it increases your revenue. If you have lots of tournaments, that's lots of money and lots of extra money on top of your average, daily fee. You've got residual income. I love this because if you book lots of tournaments, whether it's 50 to 100 tournaments a year, and you keep them happy, they're going to be coming back year after year. So it's residual income for your facility. It also gives you great exposure. We need an image. The golf courses need image of being able to help their customer, an image of working with nonprofits and helping your community raise money for worthwhile causes. So think of it as an image building campaign as you get out there and tell people who you are and what you do. It helps you get more golfers. Now, we're going to get into this in a minute, but basically, if you have more golfers in tournaments, you make more money, of course. But also something to think about, the more golfers you have in tournaments, the more golfers you'll have as daily play. Because if you can keep those golfers in your database and reach out to them, they'll come to you more often. So it helps you, obviously, with more golfers. It also helps you get new members. If you're a private or semi-private golf course and you have lots of tournaments, then you get exposure to these tournament players who may become members or buy your annual pass or your card. So it's a great way to build your membership base by hosting more tournaments. And then the big one, which a lot of golf courses do not take advantage of, is selling more merchandise and services. And we're going to talk about how you can do that. So bottom line is, gang, tournaments need to be taken seriously, and you need to have a focused effort, a business plan that's going to go after tournaments. You can't just hope that the phone rings, hope they find you on the internet, hope they stumble across your website. So let's think about making this a primary focus. And bottom line is, you're going to increase your bottom line. So those are the reasons why you should focus. Now, why should you help your customers? You heard me talk about, if we help them get what they want, you're going to get what you want. And what you want is more revenue, more money, more golfers. But if you help your customer with their event, you're going to make more money. So I call this our formula for success. So I get asked many times, is there a secret formula to book more events and help our customers? And I think that there is. So let's take a look at this formula real quick. If the average golf tournament in the United States is 72 players, which is half sold out, And let's just say that the average green fee for that tournament's only $50. We'll keep it low just for calculation's sake. That average tournament's going to generate $3,600. Now, a lot of people don't get excited about $3,600, and I get it. But think about this for a second. If you help that golf course and you help them get golfers and they double their field to 144, you just doubled that revenue from 3,600 to 7,200. Now, if you can sell every one of those players just $25 in merchandise, now you just added another $3,600. If you can add on top of that additional services, which is the intangible, we're going to talk about that in a second, there's another couple $1,000s. Now think about the meal. Just one meal is another $3,600. So now what you've done is you've taken that $3,600 sale up to $16,500 just with one tournament by helping your customer. Now here's the magic, and this is where you can double or triple your revenue. You turn that customer into a happy customer that comes back to you year after year. And just 3 years alone, that's a $50,000 customer. So I want you to think about it this way. Every phone call, every email, every customer that you help is worth a minimum of $50,000. And that's just in 3 years. So if your green fees are higher, you can increase that revenue. If you keep them 5 years, 6 years, you've doubled that. So think about helping your customers with golfers, with merchandise, with services, and keeping them long-term, and you're going to increase your revenue a whole lot of money. So everyone's worth at least $50,000. Okay, so let's get into the meat of this. Where do we find tournament outings? Where do you look? Where can you get new customers? Well, it's not complicated. We just need to focus. So step one is to build a database of just your tournament customers. I talked to golf courses across the country and I asked them that question. Do you have a database separated just for tournaments? And the answer usually is no, we have it included in our big database of 5 or 10 or 15,000 golfers. So I want to encourage you to think about creating a separate database of just golf tournaments and outings. And you're going to see why in a second. Now, I think this should be a minimum of 1,000. In your bigger markets, it can be double that, but a minimum of 1,000 potential customers in your database of tournaments. Now, where else can you find them? Well, all you have to do is search your database, your emails, your phone records, your invoices, and look for all those folks who ask you for a free donation of a round of golf for their tournament that's being held somewhere else. We all get them. You all know it. You have literally hundreds of emails and letters and phone calls that people have asked you for a foursome. Those are all potential customers. Put them in a database. I also want you to think about reaching out to the community and joining certain groups. There's 4 groups that I really like that I think are full of tournaments that you should be involved in. When I say involved, you should join these groups. You should get involved, get on their board, become a preferred vendor, get their database, write for their newsletters, go to their meetings, go to their trade shows. All of these groups have these. Get involved, and maybe not you by yourself, but get your team involved. Everyone on your team should be involved in a different group so you maximize your exposure. So these are the groups: AFP, American Fundraising Professionals. They're the group of all the major charities in your market. If you live in a major market, there's a chapter. All you have to do is search AFP in your city and it'll pop up. Join that group. Another group is called ASAE. This is the American Society of Association Executives. Now, in your market, most likely California, is going to be the California Society of Association Executives. They happen to be based in Northern California, Sacramento, but there's chapters in Southern California. So think about looking those folks up. Join that group, get involved. MPI, Meeting Planners International. There are thousands of meeting planners throughout the country, and especially in California. So where these folks basically are people who organize meetings. These are conferences, these are corporate outings, and a lot of them put on golf tournaments with these corporate outings. So join this MPI, become the golf contact in this group, and you'll get more business than you know what to do with. They'll think of you when it comes time to booking their corporate outing. And then the last one is your CVB, Convention Visitors Bureau. The major markets have one. These are the folks that are aware of all the major conventions coming to your town. And they have database of year, 2, 3, 5 years out of major conventions coming to your town. Well, most major conventions will have a golf tournament component. So think about joining that group, getting their database, and finding out what tournaments are coming to your area. I also want you to think about building a referral system. You need more than just you selling tournaments. You need everyone on your staff. You need all your past customers, all your current customers, your relatives, your vendors, your suppliers. Everyone should be a sales rep for you. And it's simply called a referral system, where basically anybody who brings you a tournament gets an incentive. Maybe that's a dinner for two. Maybe that's a round of golf. But create an incentive program and give out these certificates like they're candy. Because if you've got literally dozens of people bringing you tournament leads to put into your database, those are customers. But have everyone thinking about you by giving them a reason to bring you a customer, a dinner, a golf, whatever the case may be. And the one who does the best in a year, give them a trip somewhere. Think about an incentive program for referrals, and you'll have more business than you know what to do with. The next one is a Google search. All you have to do is look on your internet. When I say Google, any internet browser, and just put in your city golf tournaments. Pretty much everyone's having a website tied into their tournament these days. So they're easy to find. If you want to do a search and just put in your city, golf tournament, golf outing, a charity event, fundraiser, they're going to pop up in the thousands. So all you have to do is contact them, get the email, get the phone number, and you'll have more leads than you know what to do with. And then the final one I want to bring, and by the way, I have over 25 of these ideas, but we don't have all morning to talk about them all. But the last one I want to encourage you to do, and I believe this next one, every golf course in the United States should host one annually. It's called a VIP Education Day. A VIP day simply means you're inviting all your past customers, your current customers, and potential customers a day out on the golf course to say thank you. To say thank you for booking your business, or thank you for hopefully booking your future business. Invite them to a free lunch and a free round of golf. It is worth it. You'll make thousands of dollars just through that day. I like to throw on an educational component with it, which means a half-day seminar on how to produce a golf tournament, because you've got a lot of people in this business, especially the fundraising nonprofit charity organizations, the schools and the churches. A lot of them are golfers, and they don't want to come out and play golf, believe it or not, because they're assigned with raising funds. That's all they care about, is raising funds for their organization. So they're not golfers, but they happen to oversee the golf tournament. So you want to invite these people out to see your property, show them what you can do, show them that you can serve a great meal, meet them face to face, greet them, build a relationship with them, teach them how to do a golf tournament, and it's going to be a win-win for you. This gives you great community exposure, and it will help you book more tournament business. We did this recently with the Eagles Golf Club in Tampa. They booked in a one-day event, VIP day, educational day, over $200,000 in tournament business. So it's a great way to generate more business. So that's just a few ideas, and you'll get a big database of new potential customers. So think about hosting a VIP education day. Now here's the big one. How do you sell more? And please don't take this personal. Some of you are great salespeople. Some of you have never had any sales training whatsoever. But sales is an effort. Sales is a process. Selling does not happen by accident. People think, well, they'll find us on the internet, they'll give us a call, and we'll give them a quote, and good luck. But that's not selling. That's taking orders. So you can hope and pray that you book some orders by being found on the internet, or you can aggressively go after selling. and make it a process. Make it, and I know a lot of you think, well, selling is a bad word. Selling means high pressure and pushy, but it's not. The definition of selling is simply mean getting people excited about what you're excited about. See, if you can share your enthusiasm about your facility, then people are just simply going to get excited about working with you and booking their business with you. So make sure that you're excited first, but share that enthusiasm. And it doesn't need to be pushy or persistence or high pressure. Selling is just sharing your enthusiasm. So how do we do that? How do we sell more? Well, first of all, it starts with your image, the branding of your image. How are you perceived in the community? What do people think of when they think of your golf course? I have an image. I live in Arizona, and I have an image of my mind of every single golf course that I've ever played or heard of. Whether one's very private and I would love to play it, one is a resort and their fees are too high, one is a municipal or owned by the city and it's a dog track, one is just too hard, I don't want to play it. But everyone has an image. Whether you believe it or not, you have an image. So what does that image look like? And your image should be that you are tournament friendly, that you are knowledgeable, that you are experienced, that you are a great place to host golf outings. People need to think of that when they think of you. So you do that through press releases, you do that through your website, you do that through word of mouth, through social media, but let people know that you want to be the tournament headquarters. Now, you could also get certified as a tournament certified golf course, which gives you the emblem and the good housekeeping seal of being trained, having that knowledge, and knowing how to help your customers. So think about possibly getting tournament certified. The second way that you get ready for selling more is you have packages. You have value added packages, not just green fees and a lunch. Okay, everyone does that. But take an exerted effort to create packages that offer your customers and potential customers more. For example, you may want to have a low end, a medium end, and a high end package that offers, golf, lunch, and maybe a sleeve of golf balls. Or maybe it's breakfast, lunch, a round of golf, and a golf shirt. Maybe it's the full package and everything you offer, which is a website, scoring, signage, you name it, it's in that package. But here's the key, gang. These packages need to offer value. Now, what does value mean? Value simply means I'm getting more than I pay for. So if you're trying to sell everyone at rack rate and say, take it or leave it, guess what? They're going to go find someone that's going to offer more value, a better package. And you've got to be able to present that, sell that. So very important. And here's just one idea, that if they have more golfers, they get a better rate. I've rarely heard of a golf course doing this, although it's common practice in the hotel business. If I book 20 rooms, I get a certain rate. If I book 120 rooms, I get a better rate. So why not create an incentive for your customers, a value added incentive, where if they bring more golfers, they get a better price, or they get a free meal if they hit a certain mark. There's all kinds of packages you can put together, but you've got to have these packages so that you've got a good starting point. Now, this doesn't mean that you can't customize or design it or create it for them, but you start off with these value-added packages because it makes you look like professional, that you're there for the customer. And then finally, the website. Take a look at your website. Every golf course in the country has a website tournament page. And it says that you offer scoring, setting up the golf carts and putting up the signs. Boom, pretty much that's it. And sign here if you, or email us if you're interested. Well, I think you need to have more. This website, I think, should have your tournament packages. It should have articles on how to put on a golf tournament. It should have videos on how to put on a golf tournament. It should just offer more, a whole list of services, a whole list of merchandise. I think you should have a merchandise store, which we're going to get into in a minute. But bottom line is, it really needs to be built up. That tournament page, that one pager, should be 10 pages of tournament stuff, services, merchandise, videos, articles, everything that you can do to help them with their tournament. So this is how you brand yourself. This is how you create the image and offer more value. Now, there is a sales process, gang, believe it or not. And this process will help you sell more, pure and simple. And bottom line is, if we make this process second nature to us and our team, we're going to sell more. It's that simple. So I want you to think about the consideration of training your staff. Everybody on your staff should be a trained salesperson. Let me tell you, the worst thing at all was we call up the golf course and someone behind the desks answers the phone, the tournament coordinator's not in, and the guy or gal behind the counter knows nothing. This is very frustrating. So it's important that your whole staff is trained in the event that the sales manager, the director of golf are not in and can't answer those questions. You may have just lost a $50,000 deal. So make sure that everyone is trained, from your people behind the desk to your cart services, to the cart girls, to everybody on our team should know the tournament process, know your packages. Remember, now they're all salespeople, and the more they know, the more that referrals they're going to bring to your facility. All right, the first step is to think about training. The next step is to be prepared. This is the prep stage of selling. This is where you want to do your homework. You want to train your team to be knowledgeable in every aspect of tournaments. So one means know your competition. Know what your competition is doing, know what they're selling, what services they're offering, and understand exactly what your competition looks like. Understand your competition as well as your customer. Learn about charities, learn about corporate outings, learn about what their needs are. But we call it the pre stage of selling, knowing your homework and knowing the competition. Now you've got the stage of selling, which is called breaking the ice. And this is simply making the customer feel relaxed, feeling comfortable with you, because we want to work with someone who we enjoy, that we like, that we want to get to know. If you think you can just start right into selling and get right to business and get right to the facts, it's going to be kind of a turnoff. We want to build a relationship with you. So we want to break the ice and say, how you doing? How's business? What's been happening? What's new? You really want to make them feel comfortable. This is what the stage is we call the first impression. They're going to get a first impression the first time they meet you, whether that's face to face, whether that's over the phone, whether that's on the website. That's your first impression. See, we as a customer, we're going to sum you up in about 60 seconds. We're going to decide the first 60 seconds whether we like you, whether we want to do business with you, or not. So if you come across as arrogant, unprofessional, in a bad mood, grumpy, unresponsive, guess what? We're not going to like you, and we're going to go somewhere else. So that first stage of that selling process, you need to make them feel comfortable. You need to make them like you and be warm and welcoming. All right, now is the stage of what we call qualifying. And that simply means asking a lot of questions. Don't start selling your property until you know what their needs are, what their wants are, what their qualifications are. You may be wasting your time completely because they can't even afford your green fees. Or you're a lower end property and they're looking for a higher end. So take the time to get to know them. This does a lot of things. Think about it when you were first dating your spouse or dating your wife or even your girlfriend. You wanted to get to know them. You asked a lot of questions because it shows that you were curious, showed that you really cared about them, and you really wanted to get to know them. So the same thing applies to a customer. We want to get to know them. We want to make sure they feel like we actually care about them. A lot of golf courses do not really care about the customer. They don't care about their goals. They don't care about their objectives. All they want to know is how many golfers and what do you want for lunch and where's the money? And we want more than that. We want you to actually care about us. We want you to care about our needs. and what our goals and objective are. So take the time to qualify your customers. Ask them all the questions. Have you done a tournament before? How many players did you have? Did you raise money? What is the objective of your tournament? Now, if you want, I have a free, we call it tournament diagnostic. It has all the questions you need to ask, and I'm more than happy to give that to you so that you will ask all the right questions. What games and contests do they have? What formats? What was in their goodie bag? Everything you need to know is on this tournament diagnostic, and I'll give that to you for free when I get your contact information. All right, the next stage of selling is what we call the presentation. This is the time where you need to create value. You need to share with them all the benefits of why they should book with you. See, remember something, I have a lot of money in my pocket and I'm about to give it to you. I want to know why I should give you my whole wad of money, whether that's 3,000 or whether that's 50,000 or 100,000. I'm about to write you a check. So why should I do that? Why should I write you a check versus all the other dozen golf courses within an hour of me? So this is the time where you can shine. You can create value. Again, remember, value is giving them more than they pay for. So you want to share with them everything about the golf course. When was it designed? Who are the owners? Who's the architect? How many awards has your chef won? Why are your greens so special? You know, what is great about your banquet facilities? Is your customer service any good? Go through every aspect of your facility and tell them why you're so great. This is the time where you're creating value. You want to have major impact. You want to create an impression that you're the best and they shouldn't go anywhere else. So this is the presentation part of the sales process. The next stage is what we call overcoming objections. Now, these are going to be questions. These are going to come in the form of a no. These are going to come in the form of, I got to think about it, or my committee's got to make a decision, or you sound too expensive, or I'll get back with you. These are all objections. Now, do not panic. I can tell you that most golf courses panic when they hear an objection because they think they're being rejected, and you're not. If we have an objection, that simply means we have a question. We don't have all the right information yet. I'm not ready to make a decision because I don't have all the right information or the correct information. For example, if you say, what are your concerns? And I say, well, I think you're too expensive. Well, you may say, okay, I understand that, but what are you comparing us to when you say more expensive? Now, they may mention a golf course down the street, but you've done your homework. And so you already know what their prices are. And you know the reason that you're a little bit more expensive is because you have a banquet room that can hold 250 people, and they don't. You know that your greens are in way better condition than theirs are. You just have a much better property. And so you're able to share this information because you know about your competition. So do not be scared when a concern or an objection comes up. Just simply understand where they're coming from. Make sure you understand that they need more information. They need qualified information to help them make a big decision. Maybe they say, well, I've got to take this back to the committee. Well, that sounds great. I understand completely. Why don't we host your next committee meeting here at our facility, and we'll buy you lunch. Now, all of a sudden, you brought the whole committee to your property to see your facility, to see what you've offered. And now you're right there in front of them, meet them face to face. They get to know you, and they can't help but say yes. So get the committee over if that's a concern. But the bottom line is, don't be concerned or panic when they have an objection. Just know they need more information, and you're the one to help them get that information. The next step is closing the deal. Now, this sounds like normal. This sounds like common sense, but I can clearly tell you that if I have called 10 golf courses in town, I ask them if the date's available, what's the price, I'll let you know. Do you know that 9 out of 10 golf courses never get back with me, never ask for the order? Rarely do I get anybody following up with a phone call, maybe an email, and asking for the order. So this is essential part of the sale, gang. You can do all the other things, but if you don't ask for the order, you're not going to get the business. So you've got to ask, and it's not pushy. It's not, over persistent. It's simply asking the key question. Can we hold that date for you? Can I get your signature or get your approval on this agreement? When do you think we can get a deposit check? These are just simple questions that you will ask to close the deal. It doesn't have to be high pressure, but you've got to follow up and make sure you close the deal. The next stage of the sales process is the follow-up. Gang, this is so essential. You've got to follow up with your customers. Don't just get the contract, get the check, and good luck. Tell you a quick story. I was doing a tournament in Las Vegas. We booked a golf course, gave them a $500 deposit, and this was 6 months in advance. We, in the meantime, found another golf course, a better deal. And I totally forgot that we had secured the past deal. And so we get a phone call from the golf course 2 weeks before, the one they originally signed the deal with. And they said, how many golfers do you have? And I said, oh, I'm so sorry. We decided to go somewhere else. And yes, of course, we lost our $500 deposit, but they lost a $50,000 deal. Why? They didn't follow up. They didn't care about how we were doing. They didn't care how many golfers we had in the process. They didn't care if we had a goodie bag. They didn't care what games and contests we needed. None of that. So your follow-up, working with your customer, is essential for you not only to keep the business, show them that you care, but keep them coming back year after year. Now, this is the main process, but here is the system that's going to keep you and could be doubling and tripling your business. This will take your current business and double or triple it if you follow these steps. And it's simply called add-on selling. It's simple as that. Once you've signed the deal, once you've got them booked, now it's time to offer additional services and merchandise. And believe it or not, 9 out of 10 golf courses that I've booked events at never ask me a follow-up question if I need something for the goodie bag. What am I doing for first, second, third? Rarely do I get asked that question. So if you want to take your tournament business to a whole new level, you've got to ask these key add-on questions. So what I would like to see is a list of all the additional options that you have. Maybe it's a shirt, maybe it's a golf balls, maybe it's a towel, but not just say, do you need gifts and prizes, but a list of those potential gifts and prizes. In fact, I'll go as far as to say it should be on your website. You should have a merchandise store for tournaments on your website. Okay, offer special pricing. Tell them, hey, listen, if you buy 3 shirts, we're going to give the 4th one free. And if you buy 3 golf bags, we're going to give the 4th, whatever the case may be, but have specials. Have a list of these additional items, special pricing, have a website, a merchandise store, a services store. But here's the key gang. We're gonna buy this stuff. We're gonna buy gifts. We're gonna buy merchandise. We're gonna buy services. Hole-in-one insurance, signage, photography. We're going to buy that somewhere else. If you don't offer it to us, we're going to get it somewhere else. So why not get it through you? You make a few bucks on all of that. You sell the signage. You sell the hole-in-one insurance. Of course, you have a vendor follow up, but now you're making the money. You're making the override. You're making the commission, which will add on to your bottom line, and you have vendors to fulfill it. It's that simple. But you got to ask the question. You got to have them available to you. So add-on selling will take your business to a whole new level. Now, the big question is, how do we keep them coming back? Because and you've heard that it's going to take 2 or 3 times as much money to find new customers, to advertise, to promote, than it is just to keep your current customers. So you want to keep your current customers. And it's a few simple steps to make that happen. 1, produce a first-class event. And I mean, handle your customers with kid gloves. Show them that you care. Ask the right questions. Follow up with them. I like to help them see you help them throughout the whole process. Why not a weekly email that's automated that says, hey, how's the golf tournament going? How many players do you have currently? How many volunteers do you have? Have you ordered your goodie bag? But a weekly email system that just automatically follows up with your customers to show them that they care. And a phone call wouldn't hurt either. A phone call on a regular basis, follow-up phone call, just checking in. How's your tournament coming along? Are you on track to reach your goals? The next way you keep them coming back is offering planning tools to plan our golf tournament. Maybe it's a checklist. Maybe it's a how-to manual. Maybe it's a sample budget. Maybe it's a sample website. Maybe it's committee responsibilities. Maybe it's a timeline. Maybe it's action items. But if you're offering all these tools, see, we need these tools. See, maybe, just maybe, the perception that you have of tournament planners is they know what they're doing. But 9 times out of 10, they're volunteers. They're not professionals. They're a secretary or an assistant that was put on the task to put on this golf tournament. So if you help them with it, you're going to be a superstar. They're going to love you. If you help them be successful, they're going to keep coming back. I recommend that you all have tournament software, a tournament software program that helps them with their event, whether that means that helps them register their golfers, sign up their golfers, accept payments. Golfers can list their shirt size and all the things that they need. And then obviously an email that helps them with their, make those merchandise selections, services that you offer, and then follow up with emails, follow up with an evaluation form, how they're doing, even after the tournament. How did you do? In fact, I like to see you host a committee meeting after the tournament. Come on back. Let's talk about it. How did it go? Get a full feedback from all the committee members, see what you can improve on next year. And then guess what? Book it right then for next year. It's an absolute win-win for all of you when you offer them a free lunch and a wrap-up evaluation meeting. So before we take some questions, I know there's some questions out there, and before we wrap up, let me just really quick tell you what we can give you. A lot of stuff for free. Some obviously need to be paid for, but bottom line is we're here to help you boost your tournament business. We have over 50,000 members in our database. We have tournament leads in your area if you're interested. We have these planning tools that you can offer for free. We have a planning guide. We have checklists. We can offer that for free. We have the certification program. If you want to become a tournament certified golf course, it's simply 4 videos, a test, and you're certified. We have sales training. If you would like for us to come in and train all your sales staff, we can, or all your staff in how to sell, we can do that one-on-one or as a group. We have all the merchandise that you need at a better price. I know you have stuff in the pro shop a lot of times that's overextended, but for example, we have the hole-in-one insurance companies and the signage and the website, all the services that you may not have contacts with that we can, provide you at no charge to connect with them and sell them. We can help plan any major events that you've got coming that maybe they're not equipped to do that. And then we can also help you host that VIP day. We have a complete VIP day manual. So if I get your email, or you can, give the guys your email, we can get that stuff out to you after the seminar. So, all right, gang, before we wrap up, I see there's some questions. Tom, are you still with me? And are we ready to ask some questions?
Yes, Phil. Thank you so much for your in-depth, detailed presentation on tournaments. To me, it was one of the excellent presentations I've heard on tournaments. We do tournaments here at our facility, it's a public golf course. I thought I knew about tournaments, but I learned a lot from your presentation just now. A few takeaways before we get to the questions from me. I really love that idea of VIP day, something that we never thought about. I think we would definitely think about that going forward. Based on what you said about everyone within the facility knowing what's going on with the tournament, we basically started a monthly tournament meeting involving every aspect of our facility, including maintenance, F&B, and golf. So everyone's aware of each tournament that happens each day at our facility. I think this has been very, very helpful. And then last thing I think we're going to do going forward is survey. As you said, follow up. We will send out a survey to each of our tournaments. You get some feedback, good and not so good. And obviously that's going to help us to to run our tournaments in a first class way, as you described it. So to me, it was very informative. I really enjoyed it. And let me see if there's any questions here. One question coming from anonymous attendee. What do you recommend for resort facilities?
Well, the first thing that comes to my mind is to join the CVB if you aren't already. And most likely you are, but most likely it's the hotel staff and the sales staff. But the golf course should be very involved with the CVB because, as I mentioned earlier, the CVB has a list of conventions coming to town this year, next year, and the next year. And so I would suggest that you tie into that group and get those lists and follow up in advance. I mean, how professional would it be if you called a corporation bringing their convention a year in advance and said, hey, if you're, I understand you're coming to town, you've got a major convention, we'd like to be your, your go-to place for golf, whether it's a golf outing or whether it's just people who want to play golf. You get on their website as the golf connection, and boom, all of a sudden you now have got booked some new business through conventions. The other thing I want to recommend is the California Society of Association Executives, because that group is very powerful when it comes to annual meetings, and there's an association for every industry, whether it's the medical industry, whether it's the automobile industry, whether it's the construction industry. They all have an association, and they all have conventions, and they all have golf outings, and they like higher end facilities. So that's a great source of new potential clients. And then the final thing I want you guys to think about, and we didn't even scratch the surface, we get into this in the certification program, but you should think about selling other types of events. It doesn't need to be a shotgun scramble every time. There's pro-ams, there's celebrity-ams, there's night golf, there's golf-a-thons, there's golf marathons, there's a whole type of other formats that you should be selling. I remember doing many night golf skills challenge at a resort, and it was the funnest thing, and it was a mixer, and it was a win-win for the members and the facility, and it was just a fun golf at night. It was more of a skills challenge with glowing golf balls. So we have all these videos on how to do night golf, how to do a golf-a-thon on our golf tournament channel, which is on YouTube. And we have a video on every single thing in depth if you ever need some free stuff on that. But resorts are a great place. But see, a lot of perception is that we can't afford a resort because it's too expensive. But if you really want that business, you've got to build those relationships and show them that you're worth that extra money because you're a high-end first-class facility. And with sleeping rooms, which when you have people coming out of town, it's perfect.
Yeah, thank you, Phil, for that answer to the question. Any other questions out to the audience? I know there's 44 of us on the call. Any questions, please type in your question. I guess one comment before any further questions, Phil. For me, before COVID and after COVID, it's been a huge dynamic change to the importance of tournaments for us, where before COVID was purely discounted rounds, which didn't help. And after COVID, now it's been premium rounds, which is really helpful. It's our tournament rounds, we call it the bucket. It's the highest average rate we have at our facility, based on what happened after COVID. And it really is an important part of our business. It's right now a little less than 10%, and obviously we want to grow that to more than 10% this year. We have a director of sales in charge of all of our tournaments, and I really love all of your ideas in terms of adding on, upselling the tournaments. It's a lot of upside that we can grow in terms of the business with tournaments, and I really think that if you're involved in tournaments, this is a must for you, so you can make your tournaments not only better but also grow your business to the way it should be.
Absolutely. Well, if you allow me, I'll wrap up. And I've got my email, my website there, gang, if you need to email me any other future questions. I'm more than happy to answer questions all day long. I'd love to come to to Southern California. I used to live there for a bit, and I love coming, especially the next 4 months, gang, when it turns to be 110 here in Arizona. I would love to come to Southern California. So I'm available for anything. But the bottom line, gang, is I just want to leave you with this. If you want more tournament business, you've got to make it a priority. You've got to create a business plan just for tournaments, who you're going after, how you're going to go after them. Build a database just of tournaments. And I'd like to throw in a bonus here. Maybe you consider sending out a monthly newsletter with tournament ideas, tournament tips to this database, just so you stay in front of them on a regular basis. Create a process, a proven process for your customers, because I promise you, if you help them get what they want, you are going to get what you want. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you taking the time to be with me this morning and this opportunity to speak with you. And I'm available to help in any way, shape, form I can.
Mr. Immordino, this has been a fantastic, highly educational session for me and for the rest of the audience of SCPGA. You saw the email address of Mr. Immordino, so please reach out to him, connect with him for any questions. Obviously, the video will be recorded, so it will be available soon after, so you could access it again in the future, not only for yourself, but for anyone in your facility. Again, thank you so much for your time this morning, Mr. Phil Immordino. It's on behalf of the Education Committee of SCPGA. Thank you so much. Thank all of you for joining. Have a great Thursday.
Okay, gang. Thank you. Happy golfing.